Hey there and welcome back to yet another one of my YouTube videos. As you may already know, my car is wrapped. This is not a factory BMW color. My car is actually black or black sapphire metallic from factory, and I had it wrapped in deep gloss blue metallic by 3M over a year ago. So in today's video, I want to go over everything to do with my wrap, how it's held up for a year, pros and cons, where I got mine done, what I'd recommend, how to care for your wrap, and a bunch of other different things. So if you're planning on wrapping your car, you'll know everything you need to know to make sure your wrap stays in good condition for the first year, the second year, up to the 5th year and beyond. To start everything off, let's go into what happens when you actually want to get your car wrapped. You take it into a shop, you let them know what color you want, what patterns you want. You can get custom graphics, you can get half the car wrapped in one color, the other in another color, sections, you can do camo. The first thing you'll do is start removing some parts of the body. For example, the mirrors, the door handles, the tail lights. They'll open the hood, they might remove the bumper. It really depends what you're doing to your car. One thing to keep in mind is that when a car is getting wrapped, most shops will wrap around everything that you can see, but they'll leave the door jambs. They'll leave inside the hood like right here. So if you want to get the door jambs done in the same color as your wrap, make sure to tell the shop, but they probably will charge you extra. Of course, once they start, it will take a little bit of time. If they have your wrap color in stock, it should take a few days up to a week. And it could also take longer if it's a really intricate car, if it has a wide body kit or something, or if it just has a lot of angles and stuff like a Lamborghini SVJ. Every wrap is different, but once yours is done, the instructions that I got from my wrap shop was not to wash the car for about a week, or at least if I do, not use any high pressure water, and make sure the car gets lots of sun so that the wrap will cure, because this is vinyl, right? So with heat, it will cure to the surface, it'll fully form and it'll harden. Not really harden, but it'll take its final shape, I guess you could say. Besides that, that's all I really got for aftercare instructions from my shop. Every shop is gonna be different though, so make sure you listen to the person who wraps your car. All right, let's get into price. I paid about $37.50 Canadian for my wrap. And the thing with wrap prices is that one, it depends on which shop you go, but more importantly, it really depends on the size of the car, the shape of the car, how many angles there are, and also most importantly, it all depends on if the car is a common car for wraps, which means it will have pre-cut pieces. If your car isn't common for wraps, they'll have to custom cut everything, and that's going to increase the price a lot. For example, this car was $37.50 to wrap, but a Lamborghini Murcielago, there we go, was in the same shop getting wrapped in chrome turquoise for $9 grand. Another example of this is my whole car, like I said, $37.50, but to wrap the hood, I believe it was either $500 or $700, and that's because one, it has PPF and a wrap, and it also has a custom cut design, which is going to cost more. Now, $37.50 for a car this size is definitely on the more expensive side. You could get a cheaper wrap done, but I would recommend going with the slightly more expensive option, as you really do get what you pay for. As I'm going to show you later on in this video, this wrap is held up perfectly, great customer service, and there's a warranty on it as well. But if you don't want to pay this much, there are other options. The first option is where you actually pay more, and that's actual paint. The good part about actual paint is that it will always look better, but even with this wrap, I mean, it still looks amazing, even though it's a wrap. But if you're gonna be painting a car, it's gonna be probably 2 times, 3 times more than wrapping a car. You can also wrap your car yourself, which is another option. It definitely won't be as expensive. The wrap material is gonna cost you about $500 for a good wrap, and you can do it yourself, but of course it will take a lot of time. Another option is Plastidip, which it's very cheap. You can do it yourself, you can get a shop to do it, but it doesn't really look as good as a wrap or paint would look. So those are your 3 options: paint, wrap, or Plastidip. I would definitely recommend getting a wrap, because to me it's worth the money. If you want to change the color of your car and also slightly protect it, more on that later, a wrap is a great option. A good vinyl wrap should last up to 5 years, maybe even more, depending on how you care for it. Which brings me on to how to care for your wrap, which is actually very important. The thing with the wrap is that it's a lot softer than paint or clear coat. So if you're going to be using a dirty brush all over the car, you will get a bunch of swirl marks. I use a clean brush, soft bristles, and I always clean the brush off for each body panel, yet I still have swirl marks. But a great way to make sure you never get swirl marks, or very minimal, is to do about 3 or 4 coats of ceramic coating on your car. And that will make a huge difference. I actually ceramic coated this car after I had gotten swirl marks on it with only 2 coats, because I didn't really have time to do more. And it took out most of the swirl marks and made the really bad ones look a lot better. So ceramic coating a wrap is pretty much a must. Besides ceramic coating your car, there's a few other things you can do, and a big part of this is washing your car gently. And if you do decide to use a brush, make sure to rinse it off in the soapy water between each body panel. Another thing to do is make sure the bucket is filled up more, so any dust or dirt that is on the brush will sink to the bottom, and the water on top will be clean to not scratch your car. You can also do touchless washes with a high pressure washer, but if you're going to use a high pressure washer, make sure not to put the high pressure water in between the cracks, because that will lift your wrap. If you're using low pressure, it's not too bad. You can go between the cracks. I do it all the time. One of the biggest things to keep in mind is that if the wrap is warm, if you've left your car in the sun all day, do not put anything on it that has even a little bit of weight. Don't put any tools on it. Don't rest the door on it. I rested my friend's door on my wrap and it melted right through it. Make sure you don't put anything on the wrap if it is warm. It will leave a mark or melt through it because it's soft vinyl. It's not paint. It's not clear coat. If the wrap is cold, yes, you can leave stuff on it, but like I said before, the wrap is a lot softer than the clear coat, so it's much easier to scratch. After having this wrap for over a year, I can confidently say that I would definitely do it again if I had the choice. And I totally recommend wrapping your car. Unless you really like the color of your car as is, then get PPF, because one of the reasons why I wrapped my car was to protect the paint, not only to change the color, but also to protect the paint. And PPF will protect the paint quite a bit better than a wrap will because PPF is thicker, it's self-healing, and it's designed to get damaged. Vinyl wraps aren't really designed to protect your car, but they do a little bit from scratches and stone chips. But not as much as PPF. Anyways, with that out of the way, another reason why I wanted to get this wrap is because I love this color. And if you look at it, you could almost think it's paint. And a lot of people do think it's paint. I've had so many people at car meets come up to me and say, that's not a factory BMW paint color, but they do think it's paint. But like I was saying before, paint will always look better than a wrap. But this still looks great. So after owning it for a little bit of a year, of course there is gonna be a little bit of wear on the wrap. And I wanna show you the different places where wear has occurred and some places just to keep in mind when you're wrapping the car. So let's go over that right now. The first thing to take note of is the front bumper. You can see there's little things here. And if you ever decide to do PPF on top of your wrap, which I actually did on my hood because it's a carbon fiber hood and I want this exposed carbon to be safe, a good place to get PPF on top of your wrap would be the front bumper because as you can see here, a bunch of little chips, but the paint underneath looks to be fine. Another place you'd probably want to put PPF is on the rear arches, the trunk load lid, the mirrors, and also like I did on this car, the headlights, because these things are really expensive. But besides that, I just leave the vinyl wrap everywhere. And honestly, my car is vinyled everywhere. There's no PPF except for the hood, so you don't need to do it. If you look over here, I used to have the center license plate holder. So there are of course holes in the wrap, which I don't really mind at all, but that's just something to keep in mind. Another few little things right here. And if you look down here, there's a tiny bit of peeling here, and a way to get around this would be getting the wrap shop to remove this and then wrap underneath. But honestly, it isn't really a huge deal. I wash my car a lot, so that's probably part of it. And of course it's down here, so it's not really noticeable, but it is something to keep in mind. By the way, a little tip, if you have a coupe BMW, put PPF here because over here, this rubber gets filled with dust and then it scratches your paint. Anyways, coming over here, this wrap is still holding on perfectly over a year later. Look at that. There is a little bit of creasing here, but nothing has happened to it. This is how it came. And if you wrap your hood, this is gonna be normal, but that's how it was since I got it done. So no damage or anything. Going back to my review and thoughts on my wrap after a year later, like I was saying before, it was an amazing idea. Daryl, is there anything you want to add from behind the camera about the wrap? Any thoughts after a year?
When I got my car, it already had a PPF on it, and that's one of the main reasons that I bought it, because it was already included.
Like Daryl just said, one of the main reasons he bought his BMW M2CS is because it was PPF. So if you're buying an expensive car with nice paint, PPF it right away from factory, and that's a huge sales point. Because it's not about the $3 grand, $5 grand to PPF the car. It's about having the paint perfectly protected from day one.
And I think it's just a killer. It's wonderful. You picked a great color, but it's lovely. And the car just pops. It looks great.
Oh, one other thing. I don't know why I'm telling you this now, but when they do your wrap, of course, they pop the emblems out. I just looked at this now. Anyways, with that random little bit of information, I want to give you a big thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate you supporting the channel, coming back to watch a video every week or now every 2 weeks until spring. It really does mean a lot to me, and it's nice to see people like yourself enjoying them. So with that being said, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll be posting again in 2 weeks, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week, and of course, another fantastic week waiting for my video to come out. Have a good one.